The more important conversation and the bigger victory, other than just the score, because what the thing is with Black Panther movies, it's you have the score and then you have the importance.
Yeah.
The importance score, and that's usually 9 or 10. And here we are, and this is the conversation we had. And I just, essentially where we're at in the conversation is, I want you to say what you told me in that long-ass text, because in my brain, I'm watching all this great footage of Tenoch and Chadwick and everybody, and everyone's having a great time. I'm like, yes, it's a victory for everybody. I know I did a TikTok about the race war. I'm sorry.
It's going to get pulled.
No, it's actually doing numbers as well. Okay. But the idea is that it ended up uniting at the end, and that was the point, right? Our people's united until Namor does some crazy shit. Eventually.
He doesn't do crazy. He only does logical shit.
Logical.
Here's the thing, man. Fucking, like, you can't deny what Killmonger and Namor mean to people, period.
Right.
Like, I had this conversation with a colleague of mine at work, and they were just like, I don't get it. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna beat you senselessly.
Right.
Every fucking day, belittle you, talk the like most vile shit to you every fucking day for 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then tell me that like you don't want to see the fucking world just burn.
Right.
And it's going to be just because of the way you look. It's just going to be because of the way you live. It's
No
gonna
personality.
Be just, like
Your skin is dark, therefore I'm going to berate you and treat you as less than a person.
And it's a white guy, and you know,
Right.
like very intelligent white guy, very like down for.
That's what they were doing,
cause,
though. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like still just didn't totally get it, and it's like this isn't this. Let me also say this: characters like Killmonger anymore are not for like the genuine populace to get.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, it is for people who understand like
He's
the
complex
culture.
to us.
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
and that's why you know it was like. You know, when we were younger and Joker was cooler than Batman and, you know, The Dark Knight.
Right.
Now it's the same thing, except for there's a entire, like, fourth dimension to this person.
Yeah,
Right.
it's depth now.
Yeah,
it's like, yeah, no, I root for
Hey,
him.
not
but
when
for
we were
these
younger.
reasons.
Hey, not when we were younger. Dark Knight was 3 years ago. It's fine. We're never gonna grow old. The things that we love are never gonna die.
Yeah, my
No,
knees
we're
are
millennials.
cracked.
They will never die.
Ashes
for
world
us.
champions.
Oh, trust me, our childhood, you have Paramount Plus, our childhood is intact. It's right there if you want to see it.
No, I'm just no. You said back in the day, like, yeah, she was 08. Fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Or whatever that
while
movie was.
ago.
Yeah, like shit. But no, but like that was because all these things are good things. And what I was saying though, in that view, the TikTok, the views we got, people, because I said in the race war thing especially, I was like, oh, it's the most. You said the blackest of black and the most Mexican of Mexican, and I had to delete all the wettest of the wetbacks. Fuck you, it's a hacky joke. Shut the fuck up.
You're
Not in my
allowed to
fucking
say it.
comment section. Sorry, I just had to call it out. It's fucking dumb. Wetback jokes, beaner jokes. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah,
in,
not a fan.
in the mortal words of Canelo Alvarez, shut the fuck up. Get the fuck out of here before I kick your ass. But you have to
Y'all
say
see the real fucked up meme?
which one?
I knew. Look. It
Oh,
was
is it
made
the first
by a-
thing that we see? Is this
Yeah.
wetback?
Yeah.
Yeah, in the trailer. Yeah, we get it. We get it. It's hilarious. Waka waka
It was
waka.
made by a Mexican who was like very down for the culture.
It's to make it funny.
I am too, and I made that joke when I first heard it, and I was like, "Someone's gonna make this 30 months from now," and they
Yeah.
did. Point is, a lot of things to cheer for, but I did call him Mexican a bunch of times because the actor's Mexican, and because the
hub was in Mexico.
the hub was in Mexico, and the closest
saying.
fucking thing that we have to any sort of Mexican
The actor's
representation.
Mexican, yeah.
Nationality.
Nationality.
Yeah.
But the closest thing we have to a fucking Mexican is a underwater sea dude. That's it. Well, we got America Chavez. She's a little
Name was
child.
very important.
No,
also-
but you listen to what I'm saying though. No,
Yeah.
volume wise.
Okay.
You got America.
started with fucking America.
That's a whole a Puerto Rican who's also Mexican.
Because why not? Yeah.
The fucking character is a black Afro Latina, like with curly afro.
Ariana Du Bois. Should
In
be
the
American
comics,
Chavez, technically,
like
yeah.
that is who she is. America Chavez, love the actress. Nothing against her. But
Xochitl
Marvel
Gomez?
fucked that shit up.
Yeah.
Because they not only like colorism, they just
Not really
went-
that character at all.
Well, they did
movie,
colorism,
yeah.
they did full blown racism, and they just decided to go ahead and say, "Hey, yeah, the fucking lot of you Latinos are probably the same. That's why we're gonna have Mexican slang
Consolidated.
instead of like
Puerto Rican slang. You're right.
And Mexican slang from Cali, nonetheless.
That's right. That's why it sounded
Rican in New York.
That's why it sounded corrected in my head. That's why I was like, no, you know why?
Something's not right.
No, because I knew the character was Puerto Rican, but in my brain, I'm watching the movie, I'm listening to
still
Spanish, I'm
didn't
listening
seem
to the
right,
jokes.
yeah.
No, it seemed 100% correct to me because there's only a couple accents in Spanish. Because
Right.
like if you watch Breaking Bad, my cousin Brendan pointed this out to me. If you watch Coco as well, actually, let's do Coco instead. They have a lot of Mexican character actors in the movie because there's a lot of undead, there's a lot of cameos and stuff. And he goes, yeah. The Spanish that they're speaking is not Mexican Spanish. They're speaking L.A. Spanish. A lot of the celebrities, right? Because you got Cheech Marin, you know how he speaks.
Right.
Yeah. Fluffy, when he speaks Spanish, he's not speaking it like a Mexican would speak Spanish. He's speaking it how a Chicano would speak Spanish.
Right.
So it's like little things like that. So when I heard America Chavez, I was like, that sounds right, because she's not.
From where you are, yeah.
Right. Because if you want for perspective, Tommy, to make it easy for you,
Yes.
you don't want like, hey, vato, you don't want that kind of Spanish. You want Washington Heights type of Spanish. Right. Well, no, just we make a joke about how they said Washington Heights every time in the Heights. They didn't say Washington Heights. Like, hey, man, we got to go to Washington Heights.
They say it every time.
Every time is Washington Heights. And
put
so
extra on it.
Yeah, I want to spell Washington Washington Heights. There you go. That's how you say it. Washington Heights. For record. So, but everyone's like happy. And then in the chat, we also had Werewolf by Night. And then we also had Moon Knight, Oscar Isaac, the Guatemalan, playing an Egyptian.
Playing Egyptian. Yeah.
No, we're not taken over by an Egyptian, but also British, but also vague. Who knows?
It's very vague. In the comics, he's just some
Washington
schmuck
Heights.
white guy.
Yeah.
I feel like they fully missed an opportunity in Marvel, like shows, to retcon the character completely, make it a black man who suffers with like some kind of like mental disorder of multiple personality, schizophrenia, whatever it is, and then go back to his ancestry in Egypt, and like you have fucking like money right there. You have an entire thing that you can
white Indiana Jones man in Egypt always.
Yeah, no, and that's why I'm
always
like,
white
okay,
Indiana Jones man in Egypt.
But when it was him, and I was just like, okay, it's like at least a person.
And then his
of color,
extra
and
spoiler, extra alter ego also speaks Spanish.
I feel like they blew their wad with Oscar Isaac. You can do so much with him. And he knows that.
True.
I don't think that was right for him.
I don't either.
Yeah.
But I'm glad he's there. But
I would have rather have seen him as like a Wolverine.
Oh, that would have been good.
That would have been good.
He's Canadian.
I would have rather seen him as
fuck
an
out.
actual Spider-Man 29.
Oh my God!
I know you're
Rico here done it at 10 tier. What says to the community?
Hey.
Oh my God, we're gonna get a lot of Prince noises in a second. But thank you so much, Rico Hero 647. Actually, we just got paid from Twitch, so this is the reset of the month. We're starting 10 subs
Doing
strong
good.
on top of some other things. Thank you so much. But I want to talk about this because you're looking at your watch, and I want to bring up. Oh yeah, you're off baby duty. You're good.
Hey.
But I did want to bring up. Yeah, no. But I'm trying to get to the point, which was. I saw a lot of indigenous people mad in our comment section. Prince, not now. Thank you so much for donating. Prince, be quiet for a moment. It's gonna happen. It's gonna keep happening. Sorry, audio listeners. I think that was the last of it. I hope. Anyway, so the indigenous people were like, especially this one, the one that caught me and caught my ear wrong, and this is why I had to consult you guys because I didn't want to speak out of turn, which I did at the top of this episode, which was. He's a Mesoamerican character. He's an indigenous character. He's mine, not yours. Talking to Mexicans. And I'm like, well, how do you make a fucking Mexican? You take half of an indigenous, take half of Spanish, put them together, and you got your Reese's cup of racism, right? or of colonialism, I'm sorry. And so I'm like, but like that was how I was responding, like joking, right? Like, how do you make a Mexican? Indigenous and that. And the people who are enjoying this are actually embracing a part of themselves that may have not been opened up before because white supremacy and colonialism says,
Kills cultures.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you're white, so you're better if you're white. So we got to look at Cortez and be like, yeah, that guy, he came, he conquered all those fucking dirty indigenous people. That's the narrative. That's what you grow up with. And I had to unlearn that because I thought Cortez was cool as shit. Looking for the city of gold, taking what he wanted. He got armor and shit.
He was a bitch, too.
Beating the fuck out of... Yeah, blankets full of smallpox, disease. The reason why they lost in fucking Tenochtitlan was because they were dirty, diseased fucking people that didn't wash their ass.
Right.
That's it. They weren't
Literally
better strategists.
No. It's coincidence.
I'm talking about my history now. The
fucked up coincidence,
The
yeah.
Aztecs mapped the stars.
Yeah. Way smarter, way more
Developed
civilized,
irrigation.
way more developed.
And talk about cleaning your shit. They shit.
They had a
upriver.
toilet.
They shit upriver so that the fucking
could go
feces
down.
can go down
Yeah.
into the crops and fucking fertilize them. Like big brain shit.
Yeah.
And a bunch of diseased dudes
Playing
came in,
chestnut checkers.
coughed on them, and fucking wiped them out.
Yeah.
And then had gunpowder. Or no, didn't have gunpowder. They had steel.
Still, yeah.
They
Oh,
had gunpowder. They had guns.
they had guns? Yes.
They had
Even more. Yeah,
musket guns. Yeah,
musket
yeah.
guns. They had gunpowder and steel.
Yeah.
Fuck, right? That's hard to fight. And then guess what? Watch Latin History for Morons. Nice little recap. It's entertainment, but it's fun to know. Down to the last fucking guy, just about.
Yeah.
Like the Spanish were getting their ass handed to.
They
It's
weren't
just-
good fighters, man.
Right.
No.
They were just diseased, nasty people. And so I'm like, okay, well, liking a character like Tenoch Huerta and liking Namor, that is pro-indigenous. He literally says Spanish fucking sucks. It's a hateful language. The Spaniards are pieces of shit. They took these land. They were enslaving people. I had freed all the slaves. We're good to go. I go, yeah, that's a nice window into me and you's goal of understanding our roots, and yours too. Understanding our roots, understanding where we come from. Why are you being so fucking gatekeepy about it? God damn it! Like, let us have this because it's a nice opening. It's a nice gear to go to let people into the thing that you want, which is having indigenous representation on the floor of Chicanos, Latinos, and the whole what's the word? Diaspora. They want a seat at the table, and historically Mexicans are like, nah, they're all dead. They're all dead. They're all gone. There's fucking
saw it in the
3 to
beginning
6
of it.
million. Huh?
We saw it on the news.
Yeah. It's all in the news. No more Mayans. Mayans are dead.
saw it,
Aztecs, there's like 5 of them. No, at least Mayan, there's
We met one this weekend.
Which? Huh? Oh yeah, I met a Mayan. Yeah, they're
I
from
was like,
back
wait,
home.
what?
I made a joke because I read like the Aztec psyche. I'm more northern Mexican in my family. So I said, yeah, the reason why there's so many Mayans because they hid in the fucking jungles, those cowards. and then because hey, do you see any Aztecs? No, because they're all Mexican because they died and they got assimilated.
Yeah.
That's a different word. That's a softer word for what I meant.
Way softer word, yeah.
But I never noticed. I looked at her. What's her name? Claudia. She's tall, but she looks like indigenous as fuck. Long hair, has the features, and I was like, how did I not fucking see this? She's like, yeah, my 23andMe said I was a bunch Mayan. I was like, fuck. Of all the people, of all 3 to 6 million that exist, that's the number.
Quite a few.
3 to 6 million.
Yeah.
So and that number's like super soft because you gotta like figure like not only are there a whole
Yeah,
bunch of them here.
Mestizos didn't choose to
in the
exist. Exactly.
Yeah, and not only are there a whole bunch of like Mayans that migrated up north into the U.S.
Yeah.
but at the same time, like motherfuckers don't do the census.
Right.
You know, did y'all do the census?
I didn't get
Yeah.
asked.
You know, exactly. Like,
I don't know if that's illegal if you didn't, so no.
No,
comment.
you don't have to. You don't have to. But like, you know, like who the fuck does the census? You know, not everybody does the census.
Right.
We all get mailed it, but
Who reads their mail?
yeah, exactly. Who reads mail?
I
Like,
Do they
my
give
mail
me
in 8
$10
months.
like the Nielsen ratings?
The Nielsen
Oh, the
ratings.
Nielsen
They give you
rating.
$10 to do like what do I watch on TV today?
oh,
I'll fill that shit out for $10.
Also, I'm worth 100,000 people. Fuck yeah! My sister was a Nielsen family person for a
Oh,
while,
really?
and she was like, "Yeah, it wasn't worth it." But like, if you, for the record, Nielsen families are people who get forms. They fill out what they're watching on TV,
It helps
and like
with-
one person's worth like 10,000 viewers.
Yeah.
Like the reason how you're chosen is that you're an average of a community. Essentially, it's very dumb. But
Apparently what you do 10,000.
but the question I had for you, and actually I'll read it as I read it, as that led to that long conversation, was because like I just felt like, am I being stupid? There's a high possibility that I am, but I also mean well. I said I need to pick your brain on something before the show. Posting about Namor, let me down a rabbit hole, seeing all this great stuff. People were saying, man, no, he's indigenous, which like one dude saying he's not for you, he's for us. So my question is, with indigenous populations in that area, 3 to 6 million people trying to gatekeep this character from 165 million Mexicans and Mexican Americans, doesn't that spoil their goal of having indigenous people be respected and recognized? Because how could you get mad at the victims of colonization and colonialism, Mexican and other mestizos, who have been taught for a long time to not respect their roots and to deny their indigenous heritage? Like, I get the need to clarify he's indigenous. I don't think that's wrong, but to deny the happiness and progress of people owning an indigenous character played by a dark-skinned Mexican man is kind of dumb, in my opinion. It's a lot, and it means well,
Yeah.
And you didn't disagree necessarily.
Yeah.
But there's a lot more nuance to it, which is why I called them the big guns.
So we have to like for once one thing is we gotta like separate the context of like being defensive for a like meaningful right and then being gatekeeping.
Right.
You know, gatekeeping is gonna be like I'm not willing to share.
Right.
I'm not going to give. I'm not going to invite. You know, and it is aggressive. Some like of the people who are coming out saying like, "Oh no, he's indigenous." He's not
Right.
Mexican.
Because this is beyond just, hey, he's an indigenous character.
Yeah, no, it's not
Explicitly said so.
Yeah,
Right.
You know, and like some people are just saying that. I know I'm also being aggressive with some of the people who I talk about, or talk with, but it's because like you can't go, you know, centuries without representation, without having your voice heard, and we go in even like decades now. You know, we have murdered missing indigenous women. We have a consistent genocide being like put upon us as indigenous people, both in Mexico,
United
Canada,
States.
and the U.S.
They've built a fucking pipeline over sacred ground, for
Yeah,
God's sake.
we
And
have-
then it burst like they said it would.
Yeah, we have, you know, a cultural genocide, just period, had done at, I mean, public schools in the U.S., that's why they were made. Public schools began to kill the Indian and save the man.
And then you became a teacher, you colonist bastard. No, I'm kidding.
Right? At a very fucking colonial school, UT, right?
Yeah.
No, but so, you know, it is the claiming of Namor as an indigenous man, as not Mexican, is more so coming out as a defense mechanism.
Right.
You know, you also have to look at the character as a whole.
Right.
You know, just reference to Killmonger. Killmonger is a black man. And he knows he's a black man, and he claims being a black man. You can't call him anything else because he felt and he saw the glories of Wakanda and what they could do to help save people, his people, and felt betrayed by that.
Right.
You cannot look at Namor and say that he would not flip the kill switch on Mexico.
Especially with those news anchors? Fuck yeah.
Exactly. But, you know, and
Namor, I think you should be white. Stab!
Yeah, no, but like that's the thing with Namor. Namor as a character is very disowning of any kind of nationality.
Yeah.
Namor is a Mayan to his roots. He was born a Mayan. He was born in Tlalocan, which is a different kind of conversation because they're
They're mixing things.
two different. But there's
a thread. There's a thread there between the
there's another
cultures.
thread, and then there's an understanding that we can also like quickly touch on in a second. But Namor is an indigenous person.
Right.
Namor is not Mexican. He does not belong to a colonial state. He predates these colonial states. And
He kills the fuck out of the colonial state.
and when we talk about like being Mexican and like we have a whole bunch of like, you know, fresas or like Afro Mexicans or indigenous Mexicans, like, and I say fresas as like kind of a derogatory.
Yeah,
because, you know,
I get
like,
it.
Fucking rich white
Yeah.
Spanish Mexicans. But they, you know, we like being Mexican as a nationality.
Right.
But then when it gets to the roots of it, you know, it wasn't until last year or 2020 even that Afro Mexicans got a list on the census. You know, it wasn't until last year that we saw like one of the national parades including Afro indigenous Mexicans.
And that was the thing my buddy David brought up because my other friend David, super down with decolonization, was like, Mexicans up until this point have not gone to bat for indigenous people at all.
Oh, yeah.
During all of this stuff. Yeah. Like, imagine all this bad stuff happening. Imagine the history being ignored. Imagine not being on the fucking census and being like, or not having the, is it non-white Hispanic,
Yeah.
Latino,
Yeah.
Chicano,
Yeah.
what type of Hispanic, not having those check marks, having indigenous on there. They never came up to bat historically because it's easier to fall into the classist elements of, oh, well, I'm mestizo. That's better than indigenous because I got white in me. Haha, right?
Yeah.
So that is why it's so reactive. At least I think, with that explanation, why the reaction is no, it's not yours, it's mine. Because fuck y'all, y'all haven't been there for us. Even though you are us, you've not been there for us, and that's the conversation, right?
So it also goes to like I saw like an amazing post, and I think it was amazing just because like there is unfortunately between African American and Black peoples, and specifically because of our like how close we are, U.S. wise Mexicans. There's a lot of button heads in between, you know, some of our hoods, some of our barrios, some of our cultures and everything. And somebody posted and said, Mexicans, again, we're
broadly speaking,
but Mexicans need to be thanking like Kugler and Black folk for bringing them up. And I'm like, yeah, we fucking do.
Right.
Kugler right now needs to be put on a fucking pedestal for indigenous peoples because, like, indigenous peoples and Africans back in the day, we were fucking tight. That's why there are in Oklahoma, in Florida, entire fucking Afro-indigenous communities.
Yeah. Right. If you've never heard a history lesson, if you never heard of the Black Seminoles, hell of a great story to look up. Also, that's all it was.
Also, just another sidebar, because it's also Kugler, but then also just real quick as well, the translator, the language, there's
interpreter.
Interpreter. Well, the person that was teaching the Maya language to the people, they were going with the actors who were playing Namora and Atuma, and they were like, well, what should we do? Well, first of all, they were like, well, Wakanda has the hand gesture. How about we make something? And so then they got together, and the interpreter came up with the hand gesture thing. Yeah. He came up with a lot of the little pieces, and I bet you he was probably had people on set. When you put indigenous, Latino, Mexican, when you put them on set, they can give you little pieces. The part I popped the most, and that's a wrestling term, I'm learning it, I'm just rubbing off, I hate it, was when they threw the water grenade and he hit it with his hip. The ball game.
Yes.
I go,
that was so dope.
Was fucking cool. Yeah. Now, you didn't get, you didn't get it right away, but then I explained the ball game.
I got it,
It's like, oh yeah, you can't use your hands, you use your hip. And when he did that, I was like, there was a indigenous Mexican person in the room.
Yes.
And that's where you get that from.
Yeah. Again, and it goes to the credit to Ryan Coogler.
Right, which put the organization together.
Yeah, and making sure that this was authentic.
Also, another side piece, again, a female director of photography. Not difficult.
No, that's rare as fuck, actually.
No, but then someone was like, he was able to do it again.
That's
surprise.
Awesome. Yeah,
it's not difficult. Yeah.
No, you just have to hire them.
You just have to hire them. Look what happens when you hire people. Because tell me that, say it with the problems with Wakanda Forever, not one person critiqued its fucking cinematography. Not one.
It's great cinematography.
Costume design?
It's so much going, so much goes right with that movie that I hate that I have to give it what I give it because of one person, but that one person destroyed it. Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Yeah.
So, there is a separation. I mean, and there's there's a cultural separation between, being indigenous Mexican and like wanting to overarch swath the, Mexican thing.
Right.
But Tenoch is of Purepecha and Nahuatl indigenous. And that is what he claims. Yes. Again, there's a pride of nationality, of being Mexicano and everything. But he knew, and he says it. It wasn't until I jumped, into the U.S. that I got recognition.
Right.
And it is because of the skin, like color of his skin. It is because of who he is as an indigenous person, not as a Mexican, but as an indigenous person who fit the script for the story that was trying to be told.
Right.
So, if we even though we are Mexican American or Chicano or whatever we want to say or claim, and yet also still claim Mexican, we cannot say that and then want to claim a character like Tenoch as Mexican, because it is so disingenuous to do that to him as the person and to the character that is being portrayed and the story that's trying to be told.
Right.
Now, people take this as gatekeeping. What people should, especially Mexicanos, take this as is an invitation to decolonization. Right. It is an invitation to look inward and say, what is beyond my nationality? What is a Mexican? Mexico is like, the U.S. in the sense that it's a fucking boiling pot of a whole bunch of different cultures.
Right.
There's Chinese, there's Japanese all along the East Coast. There are a whole bunch of Afro-Indigenous peoples, Africans. There's a fuckload of Greek, Irish. Mexico's a boiling pot. But what does it mean to be this and to have this portrayed? And if we can't see and have like some kind of like inner lookings into who we were, who we are, and what does it mean to not, when we separate ourselves from the colonial state, what does that and leave us with? That is what the invitation is towards.
Right.
It's going to be hard, and I'd be even willing to say, unfortunately, probably 60% of motherfuckers ain't going to be willing to have that conversation.
I mean, they're having tough conversations with just the masculinity of Namor, and we're not going to bring it up. We're running out of time. But with black folk being mad that the men...
Jason Whitlock?
Jason Whitlock, and it's all. People were agreeing with them in mass saying,
Christ.
because Jason... I
could squash this real quick.
Yeah.
He popped that shit up.
But did I lose it? I did lose it for a second, just to bring up a joke. But let me see here. But essentially, Jason Whitlock was saying sitting through 2 hours, 40 minutes of Black Panther 2 is torture. Let me save you the time. The movie hates black men, America, and the patriarchy. Racial idolatry at its selling point, nothing else. First of all, yeah, it does hate America. They make a very obvious point of that. They want to keep stealing the vibranium.
Colored people.
The patriarchy, patriarchy is fucking dumb.
Yes.
We just know that. But then the movie hates black men, which I didn't see at all.
Didn't see that. Jason Whitlock would see that because, he only has one eye going out because he's turned to Uncle Ruckus.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, he absolutely. He's a piece of shit.
Oh,
like,
yeah, I don't disagree.
Terrible.
I just said disagreed. I'm not allowed to say it.
Like anything Jason Whitlock says, you should probably do the opposite because he doesn't know shit. Not even sports is his forte, and he doesn't know shit about sports. I was gonna say he knows nothing about sports.
Wait, that was a sports guy, huh?
He was
now he's doing social commentary.
Yeah, he's on like News Max or some shit. Like, his career is gone,
right?
As it should be. But yeah, look, it's a movie about a king dying. And black women basically picking up the pieces of that tragedy. Yeah. Where have we seen that before? Yeah, that's completely unrealistic, right? Only what they've always fucking done, not by choice, by just duty and just doing what they do. Well, that's what this movie was, and it was great to see that in a movie.
Yeah, I don't know if I've seen that, Tommy, ever in my life, ever. Right. Well, a woman taking the responsibility of a man who's failed? What a mystery to the Latino culture.
Yeah. There's a great interview with Lupita Nyong'o and Winston Duke where, and it's some TikToker, I forget his name, I feel bad because he's actually really good, movie critic. Mm-hmm. But he's asking Lupita directly, what does this say as having majority woman-led, cast? And then she, defers and says, I'm going to say something, but I also want Winston to say something about this.
Right.
And Winston says something beautiful. He's like, it was, up to the family of T'Challa to mourn, the women who were left to mourn, but it was the responsibility of M'Baku to support.
Yeah,
right.
And that's exactly what he does.
Yeah, all he fucking does.
Yeah, can you do that, motherfucker? Yeah. Can you support?
Fucking support.
God, I know support is not something Jason Whitlock is used to.
Right.
Good. Yeah. But yeah, no.
They call him.
Shut the fuck up, Jason Whitlock. No one respects you. Can we talk about someone halfway respects? Because Jason Whitlock ain't it.
We talk about Winston Duke.
We respect Winston Duke.
The feather serpent god.
I remember that from the trailer.
It's the coolest way to say
that
it.
Again? Yeah, it was
Well, no. What's even funnier is that when Namor says it the first time, he tilts his head. It's he goes super into it. They call me Kukulkan. But men always call me Namor.
Yeah.
Triple roll. Yeah. By the way, someone... This is the fun. We're gonna end it with this because this cracks me up. Someone said, "I can't with this clown." Namor said, "Fuck these colonizers! They'll put the Catholic tattoos on them."
Yeah. Tattoos would look kind of cool, though.
Well, indigenous tattoos, maybe, not the fucking Virgin Mary. Jesus Christ, man!
That's fucked up, but that was kind of funny.
A fucking cross tattoo, a clown.
Oh no!
All super stereotyped.
Oh my God! It's the most stereotypical tattoo.
And he had a lowrider whale somehow.
Jesus Christ, that was too much.
That's way too
That
much.
was too much.
The killer whale was chromed.
But yeah,
Oh, my God.
any black man who feels like threatened or feels your masculinity, feels emasculated by Black Panther 2, you don't deserve masculinity.
And any Mexican who's like,
You're a
he
bitch.
shouldn't have been doing it.
Put the camera. You're a bitch. That's what you are. Jason Whitlock, you a bitch. Yeah, okay, so yeah.
I bet you won't call Tommy a bitch.
Challenge.
Where's that park?
Oh, yeah.
meet him there.
White Rock Park, yeah.
Meet you there.
White Rock Park, LaGrange, Texas. Be there or be square. Tommy will be
Tokyo
waiting.
Drift soundtrack will be playing. Great soundtrack, by the way. You know it.
But no, because my buddy had a big speaker system and he'd play that song all the fucking
Yeah,
time.
it's a good soundtrack.
That one, and my life be like ooh, oh, oh. And then the sound sister, my life be like.
Thought he was cool with his
Thought he was
speakers,
cool.
though. Yeah.
Very awful. But point is, support your local indigenous folk. Stop being weird. Wakanda forever.
Yeah.
Oh, Tlalocan.
Likiktalukan.
Yeah, this is y'all's.
One more time, rise for our national anthem. Come on, join us, Tommy. Join us. It's all the same. It's all African music based anyway.
It is. We're the only ones with rhythm, Sam.
It's all drums. Likiktalukan. See y'all later, folks. We're getting out of here. Thanks for the extra long episode, guys. We're out. That shit went on forever. I'm sorry. Shit, we don't have to shoot the extra episode now. All right, guys. We'll see y'all.